You know I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, reality TV, fitness, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calabrese and Joe. It's another Big Brother episode. Everyone was asking us all season long, when are you getting this guy on the podcast? And you know what we are here with the guest booking. We are results driven, and results are all that matter. And we are cashing in today. We made it happen.
We are a true podcast and men of the people. And when we get asked something, we deliver. And we have, I think, a very good rapport with another former America's favorite player. So for this past particular season of Big Brother 27, we are very happy to have another America's favorite player on with us. Personally speaking, he's my favorite Soto. I don't know about you, Nick, but we welcome Keanu Soto on with us. Keanu, you look
Yo,
great, man. How are you feeling? How you doing
thank
today?
you. Thank you, man. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I like when you guys say what it is you do on the podcast. I was like, dang, I feel like 90% of those things.
Checking all the boxes, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. Sports, check. Reality, check. Business, check. Entrepreneur, yeah. All right, we're
fitness,
checking
you
them
got it
off.
all. So, obviously, you were very busy before the show. Now, I can only imagine the world when post the show. So, what's the first app you're checking on your phone every day?
Aha. Every day?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's your go
my
to.
bank account.
Bank account. All right. When is that check coming from Big Brother
Hey,
for
that was
America's favorite house guest?
that should be coming later this week, but yeah, that's a habit. You know what I mean? When that number
Yeah.
gets low, I know it's time to grind. So
Well, you've been grinding for a while. I mean,
yeah.
let's not downplay it. You played college football, Southern Arkansas University. You're a middle linebacker. You had a crazy game with 7 tackles against Southern Nazarene on October 18th, 2014. So talk to us about the grind of playing college football.
Ooh, college ball, huh? Well, there's a lot of discipline involved. You got to get up early. Sometimes hit your workouts. Sometimes that early morning involves looking at film. Sometimes both. So yeah, I like to think I got a lot of my discipline from having to do those things. Sometimes there's everyone's different. Some players didn't like having to work out in the morning. I love working out, so for me that was like my favorite part. Some people don't like watching the film. I at one point was one of those. So hey, having to do the things you don't want to do is what helps build the resilient mind. So
Absolutely, and it helps build a strong foundation and the body as well.
Now,
So
hold
I
on, Joe. I mean, Keanu's crushing energy drinks here, and that's oh, where's yours? You got your
I
monster.
threw mine out.
Ah,
I had for the first two interviews, I had my monster, and then I just finished it about 5 minutes before we hopped on. I am a monster guy. I drink monsters honestly every day, and you know something? It's not really great. Everybody has that one vice, and it's that one
yeah,
vice that I can't get rid of. For you, since we're going off the cuff here, did you have any particular vice that you just can't shake?
kettlebells.
oh yeah, kettlebells.
Kettlebells.
That's a good one. Yeah, unconventional training in general. Yeah, sandbags, kettlebells, landmines. I love all that stuff. But yeah, I'd probably say I'm probably bad with the energy drinks too. You know what I mean? I'm not. I don't drink them too much, but I haven't been able to drink them in like 3 months. So like I've been crushing them now.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. They won't give you the energy drinks in the house, right?
No, absolutely not.
That's
So
terrible. So let's talk about the physique, right? But the fitness aspect of it, because I have friends who did play Division 1, Division 2 college ball as
mhm.
well. There's usually a regimen and a routine, right? So what does your usual day-to-day look like outside the Big Brother house? Like, what time are you waking up in the morning? What are you doing when you first wake up? Are you hitting the gym? I know a lot of people, especially like my friend is also a collegiate wrestler too, getting into the gym at 5 a.m., right? So
Yeah,
are you one of those?
I'm one of
And
those.
and you're talking about, let's talk about the kettlebell. You're a nutrition specialist, the
Yeah.
CSCS, CPT, MS. So again, what does now a typical day to day look like for you?
Now?
Yes.
Oh, now? You know what? It's funny. Nothing about my day has really changed because I was running a pretty tight ship before I left. I would say it's more of like a pivot. So whereas before I used to take a lot of calls for like nutrition or fitness related things, or even like prospecting people to join my programs and things like that, my online fitness community. The pivot has happened towards, reality star based things where it's like more products and companies that are
Yep.
wanting to do this and that, and maybe taking calls for potential new shows and things like that. Um, so it's really just changed, but my normal day to day hasn't changed too much. So I usually wake up around like 4:40 a.m.
Oof.
Yeah, do my little affirmations in the mirror. Make sure that I, make my bed, pray, do all those things, and then usually I'll go to the gym. I try to get in there like around 5 a.m., get a little 45 minute to hour workout in. And then I come back home and start working on like content creation, or if I've already done a lot of those things, I'll start working on what it is that I want to create, the following month. Schedule that stuff out. Um, just business related things. Lately here, a lot of my time, I feel like I have a full-time job for Cameo pretty much.
Ah,
Yeah,
make that money, Keanu.
Dude, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm shooting like 30 of those things a day. It's actually freaking insane. So that's I've got to take advantage of that while I can. So that's super cool. So I don't know what life will look like after these Cameo things slow down, but for right now it's a full-time job. But yeah, take a couple breaks here and there. Go for my little 45-minute walk in the day. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple living out here.
Now, for everybody, where are you living right now?
Dallas.
Dallas. I love
Yeah.
the South. Love the South. I've only been to
Yes.
Texas once. It was a couple months ago, and I went to Austin for a bachelor party weekend. So
Oh yeah,
definitely have
that's
to get
fun.
back down there. But all this time in between, your hair was growing out, right? So do you have any like pictures or anything of what your hair looked like before? And how long did it take you to grow out your hair to that length?
I do have many pictures of me. If you go on my Facebook, I'm sure you can find them pretty easily. I used to be a rocking the comb over. But I would say like when 2020 happened, nobody was cutting their hair because everybody was trapped inside. My hair like grew to an obscene length. And one of my buddies was like, "Yo, you should dread it out." And he said it as a joke. And I was like, "Yo, if you find me somebody to do it, I'll do it." And they found me somebody. I did it, and it looked absolutely horrible. But the my loctician was adamant that like, "Hey, I think you'll look really good with them. Everybody goes through an ugly phase, so you just got to make it through that, and then I believe they'll suit you." And I was like, "All right, if you think so, I'll write it out for at least a year." And I wrote it out for a year. Loved it. People started like making my brand or just meeting me like synonymous with the dreads. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll keep them. Why not? Yeah, let's do 2 years. Then two became three, three became four. So we're on our fourth year right now.
All right. Well,
That's what the
consistency,
little that's what the
that's the
gold
key.
tips are for. On
Yeah,
the
I
there
wish
we
I
go.
could get my hair like that. I can't. My hair's too thick.
too thick.
Yeah, I
That
can't.
should be
It
good.
just
Shouldn't
That's
the
good. That's
thickness
what yeah,
be
that's
good?
what you want. I got thick hair, bro. I'm Hispanic.
Yeah, of course. So, Keanu, obviously, everyone coming to you now for the Big Brother stuff. You had a following beforehand, so I'm hoping this will actually all help out your business as well. But
Yeah, I
what was it
appreciate it.
like for you? You know, the casting process for Big Brother, ultimately getting cast. What was that like for you? And then, sharing the same sweatshirt, Zach and Jimmy in the house, the packing of the clothes. And then lastly, how did having your back up against the wall and being on the block so often and early change the way you wanted to play the game? Did you want to come in there and just start winning,
Oh
or
God,
how did you
no,
want to play?
no,
No.
no, no, not at all, not at all. Well, let's tackle those questions one at a time. What was the first one?
So getting cast, what was that process like for
Oh,
you?
okay, yeah, getting cast. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to share with you guys, but getting cast was definitely a unique process. A lot of several interviews.
Yeah.
To the people out there that are wanting to apply and things like that, I always have my advice is always to hammer down on those one or two things, those one or two quirks that really make you who you are, and that differentiate you. So like, a big guy that works out that played football in college are a dime a dozen,
Yeah.
right? But it's not a dime a dozen guys that look like that also are dungeon masters and complete
Dungeons and
nerds
Right.
and
Dragons. Yeah.
do all the voices and all that stuff. Like they love that stuff. So, the one or two things that make you truly unique and separate you from everybody else, that's what you need to hammer in on. So that was what I had the most fun with in the casting process was like, just sharing my Dungeons and Dragons knowledge and things like that. There would be many times where the interview would supposed to be like 10 or 15 minutes long and it would go like 5 or 10 minutes over because we were just having fun talking about like Star Wars and Dungeons and Dragons and
Yeah.
things.
All right.
Yeah,
So
so it
now
was
talk
fun.
to us about having to switch up your gameplay because you were on the block right away.
Okay, yeah. Switching up my gameplay. So when I went in the house, I initially wanted to be more social. I'm a personal trainer, so you won't have a business if you don't know how to connect with people. Like people are
Sure.
just not going to want to work out with you. A lot of clients that I had in the past were because they liked talking to me because it made them feel like they weren't working out. So that was my game plan going in was to be social and and play that kind of game. But having being called out for I guess lying to everyone in the house apparently, that really kind of messed me
Well,
up.
that was all Jimmy, and I
Yeah.
interviewed Jimmy recently. He's going to air after this, but he was like, "Oh, me and Keanu, we originally had a final two. I should have kept to it. We would have dominated the game." I don't
That's right.
know if you guys actually had a final two, wasn't showed to us, but Keanu, Jimmy kind of got you on the block, and then ultimately,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
kept dominating thanks to Jimmy.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know if the live feeds were on when we had that conversation. I know part of that conversation was aired, but I know a lot of the things in week one were not aired. So like people were wondering why I was so adamant about sticking with Vince and sticking with Riley because they didn't show this, but in day two, I made a final three with them and I am super loyal, like to a
Yeah,
fault.
Yeah.
So like that is what I stayed loyal to the most. And so what happened was I heard that Jimmy was throwing my name around for the renom, and Vinny was being very open and honest with me about what was transpiring. So I went to Jimmy in kind of like a faux conversation, and
yeah.
basically was reiterating everything that he was
He
telling
said,
to Vince. And so I was totally like messing with him, and I was saying like, "Oh yeah, we should totally have a final two, and we should call it." And I was like letting him
"Yeah,
know what I had going on behind the scenes too, basically telling him that I was close with Vince and that we had an alliance called the Inexpendables. And I told Jimmy, I was like, "Yeah, and if we got a final two, we should have an alliance named this." And I was like, "Okay, all right." He really doesn't know that I know. But then at one point he was like, what did he say? He was like, "Are you talking about me?" And I was like, "No,
no, no."
no. Why would I be
Yeah.
talking
I think
about
you
you?"
guys are by the pool, right? Outside. That
Yeah,
was
it was
that
by
was
the
fun stuff.
I can't remember what they call it in the house there, but like by the side where all
Yeah.
the little chairs are. But yeah, yeah. So that was a fun conversation. I went immediately inside and I was like, "Vince, I just threw a layup to you, bro. I threw a layup to you. You got to slam dunk that." But he said he was this close. I don't know if it's true. He said he was this close to putting him on the block, but he ended up not doing it. So it's all good. Then the rest is history. I got put up on the block the next week.
But as Nick mentioned before, you kept fighting, you kept fighting. America resonates with that. It was the same logic that's gotten a lot of people voted America's favorite player through the years. But let's talk it from a super fan's perspective. Let's talk about the line of the season. You delivering that line after that competition to Ava Pearl. Now, I don't know if you knew at the time that this was going to be super popular.
Not at
I
all.
really, I really think, it's interesting because production aired that. And I think that was the moment I think everybody really started to turn on you. Have you had
Yeah. The
people
turn.
outside
Yeah.
the house describe like how important that line was for this season?
I haven't asked people specifically like, "Oh, what was it about that line?" I think from what I gathered, it was more like that episode or that competition in general. That line just
Slow
happens
and
to be.
steady won the race there. I mean, you were
Yeah,
just
yeah. So
Yeah.
so that particular line just happens to be synonymous with that whole
competition. The
episode.
episode. Yeah.
But what people really resonated with was not only did I have my back against the wall week after week after week, but like nobody was cheering for me either. You know what I
Messed
mean?
up.
And that is not normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whether you like somebody or not, you cheer. You know what I mean? And at least make it look good. But yeah, that you could cut through the tension in there with a knife, man. And
Yeah,
the reason why I even said that line, I didn't even think that was going to be aired. I thought that was kind of like off the record sort of thing, because the only reason I said that was there was so much dead air. Like, and I'm
just
wish I
dead
was exaggerating.
space.
There had to have at least been 5 minutes of dead air where nobody
Nothing.
said anything. And I was like, yo, like, don't you have something to say right now? Because I would much rather just receive the veto and go celebrate on my own because no one's celebrating with me anyway.
Right. Yeah, well, listen, I think you did the right thing. You said the line. She totally overreacted and tried to blame you, which made no sense, but it worked. It was an epic line. I think you should get some merch at some point. We'll see. It could be a
Yeah, yeah.
sensitive topic, but
I got the preview up on my Instagram story
oh,
right now.
all right,
Okay.
go check that out. Go check that
Yeah,
out
yeah.
now.
The logo is fire, by the way. It's a crown and it has like 1x1 on it, so one by one.
There
Oh,
we
I like
go. One
that.
by
I'm
Yeah.
one.
super proud of it.
Oh, you a prompt and gonna take you all out one by one. You almost did. So I'm curious, if you were in the final two, would you have won? Would it have mattered who you sat next to? And also, were you surprised that you won America's favorite play?
Had I been in the final two, I think had I been in the final two, that means that I at least won another two or three competitions.
Yep.
If I won
Yeah.
another two or three competitions, winning double digit competitions in one season is undeniable. So I don't think I would have lost against anybody. Just from the competitions alone, which from what I understand, my social game was horrible anyway. So, so if winning 10 comps is that undeniable, then I mean
Yeah.
it is what it is. So I think I would have won again no matter who I sat against. My toughest competition would have probably been Morgan. But I wouldn't have brought her
You
anyway.
would
I
have
would
took
have
her out. You would have
Yeah,
got
you
her
would have
out.
gotten her out. She
right.
was
You and
going
A,
out final three
it would have been
regardless.
you and Ava final two.
Right.
Here's the prompt. I'm giving you some second place money. So you win America's favorite house guest. Were you surprised? What was your feel in the jury about how you were being perceived outside of the house?
I was definitely surprised to win America's favorite. I feel like the general consensus in the house was that Rachel probably had it on lock because she already had a fan base coming in.
Right.
So everyone pretty much thought that she had it on lock. But I was not surprised to be received well. I was surprised at how well I was received. Because everyone in the house seems to or wanted to tell me, "Oh, you're a villain, you're this, you're that." I was like, "Guys, you only see like 1/30th of what goes on. Like when
Yeah.
people are crying in the backgrounds, I'm the one consoling them. When people are having a tough day, I ask them what's going on. You know what I mean? Like so that's not villainous behavior. So
Right.
the
No.
fact that you think I'm a villain is just shows how much you really kind of don't know what's going on, at least with as it pertains to me.
Yeah. Well,
So
the thing
I didn't
is, what 3 years in a row now, when for some reason someone becomes the villain early on, not really the villain, Cameron, who we've had on, Tucker last year, now you, that person has to dominate in the comps. They
yeah.
do. You end up getting more screen time, more diary room, and you're controlling the narrative. And that is going to make America like you. America always loves the person who has their back up against the wall
Yeah.
and can fight out of it. So
Your DRs were excellent too. They were
Oh, thank
so
you.
entertaining, and I really think that contributed as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I had a couple lines that a lot of people really like resonate with or thought were funny, like when I said the crying, whining, complaining, and that's just Vince.
Right.
that was epic. I don't know if you can't put that on your own, but the way that you guys put that together,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that was a collaborative one. I can't take full credit for that one.
So to briefly touch on Vince, it really seems like you just wanted to work with the guy, and the guy just wanted to have deals with everybody else. But you brought up the particular, dynamic between him and Morgan and how the relationship was perceived and the zing bod zing kind of I really think, resonated with the America based on like how they were playing the game. But again, you were the only one who really called out Vince on this, right? Why didn't he listen to you?
Man, I don't know, man. My relationship with Vince in the house was very complicated. Everyone's like, "Oh, why would you stick with him, even though he backstabbed you multiple times and this and that?" And something I didn't want to say on live TV, because I wouldn't have been able to explain myself, so I didn't really want it to be out there. was that there was a lot of parallels between my relationship with Vince and one of my actual brothers. And and what I mean by that is, you make a human mistake, and I am soft with you, let you know, like, hey, it's okay, man. We're human. That's gonna happen. It's okay. Don't be too down on yourself. Like, it doesn't matter the mistakes you made. It's all about how you fix them and move forward. So, I would never abandon my brother. So it was hard for me to turn that part of my brain off that like made that comparison. And like once I made that comparison in my head, it was a lock. Like I was never gonna abandon him. So I literally would have taken him to final two if he stabbed me in the back 9 more times.
There you go. Well, a lot went down, but you could handle it because you were a dungeon master. So you wrangled a lot of dragons, backstabbing bards, players who insist on seducing every goblin. But after
Yeah.
surviving Brig Brothers' real alliances and betrayals, what's the most absurd TPK moment you had to narrate on the fly within the house?
TPK moment. So total party kill, huh? Let's see. The hardest part I had to navigate, or the hardest. Um, Man, I don't. I feel like there was so many freaking moments that I was
Every
getting
day.
yelled at for no reason that I wouldn't even be able to think of just one. But the one that I was like, yo, what the hell is going on here? Was when Ashley had her little moment up there.
No, that
Um,
was crazy.
yeah, well, the thing is we I full disclosure told Rachel, like, hey, she is a potential fourth nominee if I need
Yes, you
one.
did.
Because
And you
I
said,
yeah,
"Oh, Rachel, I told you that." She's like,
yeah, she looked the other way.
"What?"
But the funny thing about that whole moment was, like, all right, I can't even lie. Like, I gotta give her flowers. She actually came up with some really good ones while she was like stringing them off. And they only aired like one or two of them, like the Tarzan feet thing, whatever. She was like going off and off and off. So I let her go for like a good 30 seconds, just ripping off these one liners. And one of them was actually pretty good. I don't think they aired that one, but it was pretty good. And I was like, all right, that's enough. Are you done? So that's when I came up with like the "Are you done" thing. And
Yeah.
then Rachel felt the need to jump in there, and I was like, oh my
And
God, what
they
is
had a
going
walk
on right
off.
now?
So, this is the problem with the game sometimes. People are stunned when they get put on the block. Like, that's the whole point of the game to
Yeah.
put the people. So, like, how could you put me on the block? I would never. Well, yeah, you would
Uh,
never because you're not winning HOH. So, of course, you would never. But to be so offended and
oh my God. Dude,
I got to be honest with you. I know Vince screwed you over, but I was very surprised you voted for Ashley.
yeah, well, I freaking warned the guy. I
You
You
warned that
did.
guy so many times. I was like, yo, listen, I love you, man. I'll always ride for you, in and out of this house. But if you screw me over again right now, like, that's it,
That
dude. You know what I mean? If you're the
So that
reason I get
was
sent out of the house, how are you gonna expect me to, how are you gonna expect me to vote for you if you're the one that sent me out of the house after lying to me literally the entirety of the
Yeah,
game?
I mean,
that was the determining factor.
if you're looking at the jury, four of the votes should have been a lock for him. You, Kelly, who he had a final two with, Lauren, final two,
Lauren voting for Ashley is
and he
unbelievable. The
got
crowd
just
reaction was
one vote.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling, and everyone online. Oh, bitter jury. I'm like, dude, it's not. Is that bitter jury? That's part of the game, you
Jury
idiot.
management
Like,
is a
that's
part of the game. This is what I was telling Nick before. The reason why Vince lost is he did not own his game.
ex-
If he would have owned his game, he would have won. He did not own his game, and she had the lawyer response ready to go. Plain
oh,
and simple.
100%. Yeah, the whole turning the enemies into friends or friends and enemies. I was like,
She
hey,
rehearsed
that was
that
pretty
on the
good.
live feeds. She practiced that. Everybody was like, "Uh-oh, she's gonna be ready to go."
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Keanu,
Awesome.
we know if you had stayed and won the next HOH, you were putting up Morgan and Vince.
Oh yeah,
So
100%.
that
Yeah.
was it. Like you said, the final five ended up being very, very important, but
You know
everything
what's
works out.
what's funny is that everyone seems to think that like my big mistake was dropping the disc or whatever, taking it easy on that final five HOH. But my biggest mistake, in my opinion, was voting for Ava to stay over Lauren, because had I actually
Yes.
voted for Lauren to stay, she would have been my shield. And then
Yeah.
the following
Yes.
week, when it was the final four HOH, I would have won that one so easy. I was
Yep.
practicing that dice game every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then
Well,
there
I,
the
I would have
one
probably won the final four, the final three HOH. I wouldn't have crashed out like Vince did because I actually
oh my
read the
gosh.
question.
That was
And then, no, that's not even a
unbelievable.
knock against him, but I actually like when I saw the clip of it, I was like, oh, easy, the order, duh.
Yeah,
Right.
just
And
you couldn't read.
then if Morgan crashes out again in the final two, memory or mental comp, then I win that one easily too, and I would have just won the whole game. So,
Well, Joe, obviously, if they do All Stars, they can't do it without Keanu. So we'll keep an
Yeah.
eye out for that. Now, Keanu, I want to ask you our signature question here. In your life or in your career, what has been your you know I'm right moment? What I mean by that, it's a time or place where you want to pursue something. You ask somebody for advice. They say, Keanu, sounds like a bad idea. Don't bother. It's not going to work out. And you were like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And in the end, you will see why it is that I'm right about this. And I can tell you, I told you so.
mm. I would say when I quit my job to take my business full time online. That was a huge. I have this quote that I love. It's called "If you want to," it goes, "If you want to take the island, you have to burn the boats."
Mhm.
So, in other words, what that means is you got to go all in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't give yourself an escape route because if you do, you're gonna always know you can fall back on it. So I just quit my job. I bought mentorship so I could get this thing done the right way the first time, so I wouldn't have to stumble and a bunch. And it was a tremendous investment, and it worked out. In a calendar year, I was able to, make it work, and and then yeah, just move forward. So
Rest is history.
yeah, I was dating someone at the time that was not keen on me quitting my job and doing that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Hey, if we, at the time I was thinking I would probably marry her, and I was like, if we want to start a family, your job takes up a lot of time. Mine is the one that's more flexible. You want to know how you can make it more flexible by doing it online, so I don't have to travel and commute places. So if you want to have
Yeah.
kids, this is how it needs to be.
Yeah.
And
Well, let's give a
and
shout out to your current girlfriend for all her
yes,
support. And
yes,
she
absolutely.
had a great interview with our friends over at Big Brother Spoilers while you were in the house. So go check that out if you're interested out there. But very obviously she was very supportive of you throughout this whole process. Was it tough to kind of tell her I'm going on the show, I'm going to be gone now for 100 days? What was that like for you?
Yeah, going into the move-in, or like the going up to actually leaving, it was a little bit tough. She was really having a tough time kind of wrapping her mind around not having me around for like 100 days or so, potentially. Um, there's always going to be that kind of like, oh, but what if he meets someone
Mm.
and falls in love in there, and I just have to watch it from here and just feel sick to my stomach. There all those things are going to
That
be.
would never
That
happen on Big
wasn't that
Brother.
wasn't
That
you.
wasn't
Yeah,
you.
that would yeah. Why would that happen?
Uh,
but but yeah, that's a real fear. So it was a little tough up to that point. But I'm super proud of her. I'm very happy that she handled it the way that she did while I was in there. Obviously, I didn't know that she was handling it so well. So when I when I got my phone back, the first thing I did was FaceTime her, and I was like, "Are we still together?"
Wonderful. Well, that's
Yeah.
great. Now, Keanu, I know in December you're going to be down in Orlando over the
Mhm.
Celebrity Weekend. You are raising some money for the American Cancer Society. So tell
Yes.
everybody how they can go and donate to your cause.
Oh man. Well, I will actually post the link. I need to make a link for it in my bio. But I will post a link for it on my story. So if you whenever this is aired, I
Yeah.
probably will still have it in my story. Check my bio because I should have it by then. I'm just gonna do it right after this. Why not? And yeah, please donate to that. That would be incredible. If every follower I've gained since I left the house donates $1, we're gonna have so much money for them. So
Oh, yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Everybody go help the cause. Keanu, very good chance. Nick and I will be set up in Orlando in December
Oh, perfect.
in the hotel that we're in with the nice little studio space over there. So, but at some point, can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah,
Everybody
man.
that we have on the show, it always seems like whether it's at the premiere party or whether a follow-up event, we're always meeting everybody from the show. So we can't wait to see you. Last question from me, and then we'll let you go. What else you got going on moving forward? Because I think there's
He's
a
got a
really
lot. He's got a lot
strong.
cooking.
I was gonna say between
What's
your
going on in the
business
kitchen?
and the continued budding reality TV career, I think there are a lot of avenues for you moving forward. So again, we appreciate your time, and we always
Yeah.
give our guests the last words here. So what do you got coming up for us?
All I'm gonna say is, to the people that are hyped about possibly seeing me on TV again, stay hyped.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say anything else other than that. But
So
yeah, man.
Keanu and Vince, Amazing Race. The duo.
I think
Yeah,
you would be a beast on the challenge. A beast. They need new
Well, they
blood.
don't like to
They
cast
need
the people who are muscular and athletic, though.
right because they know they're going to put
They
everybody else
want
to
to they
shame.
want
You
to
would go
cast
into the
Josh
challenge and you would
Martinez.
dominate.
yeah. I would love to be on the challenge. So if I get the call, I'm answering. But if I get the call for any of them, I would love to do the CBS trifecta. Why not?
Yep.
Why not? And I wouldn't mind being partnered up with Vince either, because I know he won't be able to backstab me if we're partners. So
Well, that's a great way to end the show. Keanu, this has been awesome.
hey, I appreciate you
Congratulations
guys.
on all your success, and we wish you all the best. So, for this episode of You Know I'm Right, we want to thank our special guest, Keanu Soto, and of course, Joe Calabrese. I'm Nick Durst, and this has been You Know I'm Right.